Let's talk about Dak. Seems like one of the things that we have consistently talked about, Jason, has been, one, the money, and two, the length. We didn't know what Dak wanted, whether he wanted a longer deal for that long-term satisfaction that he feels like he's earned, or is it a shorter deal so that he can capitalize one extra time over the length of his NFL playing career. Now it appears he wants a shorter deal.
Well, that's what the reports are today, because it's a day that ends in Y, and we must talk about Dak Prescott and his money. It's an interesting scenario because you're right. We've been talking, it's got to be the structure of the deal. And, old CBA versus new CBA, length of years, and the Cowboys typically want to sign long-term deals that they're able to restructure over time.
To manipulate the current payroll.
Salary cap flexibility is the word, not manipulate. But yeah,
that's
exactly what they're doing. Yeah. But it's salary cap flexibility.
Manipulating the salary cap.
According to Dan Graziano and Jeremy Fowler at ESPN, he really wants now a 3-year contract, similar to what Kirk Cousins got from the Vikings. That will allow him to make a boatload of money over the next couple of years, but also hit free agency again at the age of 29, which Mahomes' deal is going to be done then. A lot of other deals are going to get done, and the quarterback market will be reset once again. There's talking there about waiting to see when the Texans do Deshaun Watson's contract, because that will also reset the market.
Now, the Kirk Cousins deal is right in there, but the thing about the Cousins deal was the amount of guaranteed money that was involved in the deal. That's what Cousins was chasing. He didn't chase the big dollars. He just wanted to ensure that for the lifetime of the contract he signed, he's going to be guaranteed most of that money. And it comes into about $28 million. Am I correct there? Right, about $28 million a year?
Yeah, but he wants Dak wants around $33 million, but over, or actually about $35 million, $36 million, but over 3 years. He wants more than what he's going to get on the tag, and the exclusive franchise tag this year is going to be about $33 million. They can sign him to the other tag and allow him to go out, test the market, have a right to match, and if they decide not to match, then they lose their quarterback, but they also get 2 first-round picks in return. Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network says that the Cowboys are going to use the exclusive tag, and I think that's the commitment that Jerry is making, because I don't know that Dak goes out there and tests the market. And I don't know that Jerry wants him to, even though he could save a lot of money. But that's his way of saying, we love you, yours, nobody's going to talk to you. I'm not letting anybody entertain you. It's $33 million. Interestingly enough, we heard that they offered him $33 million last year, and Dak turned it down. That's what the tag number is. That's probably why they came up with the $33 million.
Cousins' deal, I continue to look at it, has a fully guaranteed $84 million as part of his deal. If you're the Cowboys and you acquiesce and go, okay, here's your short-term deal, why acquiesce? What would be the benefit to that? Because all you're doing, you're okay for a couple of years. You're right in where you expected to be. But as you just... Mahomes is going to break the bank. Deshaun Watson could easily break the bank, and who knows who's going to ask to renegotiate what the next quarterback that's ending a contract that has a blow-up year.
Lamar.
Well, exactly. So if I'm the Cowboys, do I want to go through this in 3 years? And if I'm not fully committed, why would I even go down this road?
I think from the Cowboys' standpoint, and the way Jerry has historically done quarterback contracts, they're fully committed. They don't mind giving that money, but they want years. Because by going with a short-term commitment, that's not showing the commitment on Dak's part that if he wants to do this again in 3 years.
I'm not negotiating with him 3 years from now. I just can't imagine sitting in a boat where we might have been moderately successful going, here we go again, but now I'm going to pay you $15 million more?
Look, you can tag him twice. So if you want a 3-year deal, all right, I'm going to tag you this year. I'm going to tag you next year. That gives you 2 years with McCarthy. If we don't have a Super Bowl, you're walking.
That's what I'm thinking.
And that is the gamble that Dak Prescott is taking right now, although he'll be under 30 when he's trying to figure out what life is, but if the Cowboys have 2 more years like this year, big numbers and no playoffs, what's he going to get?
If I don't have a deal in place, then not out of spite, but just out of due diligence, I got to get a quarterback. I got to go draft one. And it might be worthy of moving up in the second round. Who's the fourth best, fifth best quarterback out there just to bring in a body? Because if I'm looking at this dude going, well, if you're not fully into me and I'm not fully into you, I got to prepare for the future.
I look at even like Carson Wentz signed a 4-year deal with worth $128 million. Is that kind of the structure you go on? Because, I mean, if you're Dak, you're saying, look, I've played better, and I've been there. Carson Wentz hasn't been there. I've been there.
The Eagles would never offer that contract again. I think the Eagles look at that deal and go, we made a mistake.
What about Goff?
We jumped the gun. And I think the Rams are also thinking the same thing. And the Cowboys look at the two big outlays and go, well, both of them are suffering for this. Why do I even need to get involved? The short-term franchise tag, I can't imagine that Dak doesn't play under the franchise tag, like you said, for 2 consecutive years. If he wants Kirk Cousins money, guess what? He's going to get treated just like Kirk Cousins did. You're going to continue to get franchised until, well, there's no other alternative. We'll pay you that.
Well, you look at Goff's deal. He's got $110 million in guaranteed money.
That's ridiculous.
It is, but if you're Dak, isn't that your starting point?
It is if there's continued success, but the last two quarterbacks I saw get paid have not been able to live up to the money they've been paid. Kirk Cousins hasn't even lived up to the money he's gotten paid.
I look at you look at the Cowboys. Dak is apparently wanting a 3-year deal. Tyron Smith signed an 8-year deal. Frederick a 6-year deal. Zach Martin 6 years. Jalen Smith 5 years. Zeke 6 years. La'el Collins 5 years. Dez Bryant's last big deal was for 5 years. Cowboys don't do short-term deals for big money. They just don't. Historically, they haven't done it.
Franchising, man, he is destined for franchise. We're going to sit here next year on this date talking about what are they going to do with this short-term deal. Does he still want it? But at the very least, we'll know after the franchise how he meshes with McCarthy. I think the best possible scenario for at least everybody but Dak is the franchise tag. That's what it was built for. It gives some more time, and especially if you're looking for a short-term deal, we'll take care of you. The only problem is, as you were the first to bring up, you franchise a guy, all of the money counts against that yearly cap. So that'll affect next year's free agent signings.
Well, again, next year's cap is going to balloon.
But they've already said goodbye to Byron. Like, dude, Byron, go hit the market, man, because if we franchise him, $33 million hits our cap.
Yep.
Well, there you have it. I think the Cowboys are already moving in that direction.
And you look at it and you go, now, I think if the Cowboys, the money is probably in the right area at the right years. And that's got to be, now that we're hearing this report that he wants a short-term deal to hit free agency again in 3 years, or he's waiting to see what Deshaun does. But I would be stunned if the Cowboys do a short-term deal with Dak Prescott.